Welcome back to Realtime Workflows. This is part 3. I'm going to make the edits using the shots that you saw me make in the time lapse in the last video. Hey, welcome to Realtime Workflows. I'm MX Bell. I worked on Deadpool and Wolverine, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, 1917, Hobbs and Shaw, Wheel of Time, Little Mermaid, No Time to Die, tons more. What you're going to get in the channel are my pro tips and how I use Unreal Engine to make films. So let's get started. Let's make some stuff. See you down the road. Here we are. Here's my story world that we saw me make in part 1. After we broke down the scripts and all that other stuff, then I've got all my shots that I made already in here. Now, a word on this. A lot of people would argue that these should be in folders. I disagree. I can see the argument, but I don't bother. Partly because if I come in here looking for a shot, if I'm looking for shot 40, I just type in 04 over here and I get to it. And I think that's faster than having to constantly click through in and out of folders, up and down and around to find the shots that you want. That's for indie filmmakers. If you're working professionally, probably you want to have shot folders. Let's address the master shot business of it all. So you see this add level sequence with shots. It used to be called add master shot. You don't need to do that, right? No one in their right mind would ever add a level sequence with empty shots in it, right? That's not the way you do it, right? You don't start an edit with nothing to edit, do you? So you start an edit after you've got some shots to edit together. So you don't need to do that. That's mad. Here, I'm going to create a new level sequence. It's a normal level sequence. I'm going to give it the shot naming structure, and I'm going to call it 000. 000 is my edit. It's always my edit. You don't have to do that. You could name it something else. You could call it edit. It's completely up to you. I'm going to leave it as previs because it is a previs edit. If it was a tech viz edit, I might call it something else. If it was a post viz edit, I might call it something else again. But it's a previs edit and it's got a version number. So happy days. And that's what we're going to use. And we're going to double click that and come into here. We're going to change this to 24. We can start at 0 here. Now, in terms of the length of the sequence, we know that we were working from about a page of script. A page of script is generally regarded to be about a minute. It can be longer, it can be shorter. If we assume it's about a minute, then we're probably in a fairly good shape. So we probably want this to be longer than 120 frames. So 24 frames a second to 60 frames a second is 1,440 frames, I believe. So that's now a minute long. Okay, it's a minute of edit. So cool. So that's a good place to start. We're going to add a shot track. And then we can come into here and we can drag our shot onto sequencer and put it there. All right. And if we click this button, we can see what the shot does. And we will recall that this guy comes running in. Now the shot gives out there. Why is that? Probably because of this. So we'll find that problem there and just extend this out. And come back here and now we've got this shot and he goes that way. So we start on the sky and come down to find our guy coming out of the gas and he takes off screen right. Okay, so we're probably going to cut out of that once he leaves the screen. So I'll drag the end point down to roughly there. Okay, so let's get our second shot. So that's shot 10. So we're going to go and get shot 20. So shot 20, drag this up here, onto sequencer and down. And now I'm going to put this onto the shot track below. Now the reason is that Unreal's quite temperamental in terms of like snapping these handles. In editing software, these edges would snap when they reach something. So it's quite hard to get that finesse. So what I tend to do is use a 2-level edit. Start clean here. I'm going to right click and go properties, edit, split section. And then let me go and get shot 30. And then he looks. Let's see how that plays. That feels quite fast, doesn't it? I'm going to change the play speed out to be 0.75. And then make it a little bit longer. come in there like that. I'll probably link these two up then, actually, once I've got an end point. So as you see, he's kind of like his head's pointed that way, and then we come here, he's looking at us, so we probably just have a little animation that moves it from one point to the other. I don't tend to do that until I've got an edit together. So that's these three, and then the next one is 40. 40, put here. Okay, that's his POV. Okay, we need to make sure we're in on this early enough. So if I can just click through into the reason this is happening is that this character has got his keep state held before the shot comes into play. You see he's got this react death, and I've got it set to, so he dies in the shot here, but that's before I cut, and then I've actually got this set to keep state once it's finished, so it basically keeps him in the position that he ends in. But because we're cutting in here, Unreal doesn't see that, so we just need to knock this so the frame begins here. So now when we come back, he'll be dead, and then we get our trench raider coming towards us. Okay, and then 70 will be, I think he scrambles away. I just went to a different angle here so that it's basically the same as this. It's the same as this, but it's just going to a bit more of a dynamic angle here as he runs away. And then, so we go to 75. Okay, what's 75? It's this one. It's cool. So the reason we want to use this one and not the one that I just removed, the one from further down there, is because at the end of this one, he's running screen right to screen left, and then he matches up here, screen right to screen left. Now, I'm tempted to have this be a flop and change the screen direction on these shots. But if I did that, I would probably go back to the other angle so that he's moving screen left to screen right. If he was moving screen left to screen right in this, if this was flopped, so it was mirrored, he'd be running screen left to screen right, and that would match up better with the shot from the other angle here. But because I've got him going right to left here, it just makes more sense. So we come out to 75, and then we'll go 80. 80 is his POV. Now I think I changed the order here, so let me just double check. Stealing stuff, looking back, then 85. I've made a little note for myself, then 85. So if that's 80, then 85 is the extreme close up on his eyes, which I think would be pretty cool. So we push in and then pop in there to his eyes as he's looking for the thing, and then we do his POV. That's pretty cool. I'm pretty pleased with that. I think that looks wicked. 90. Let's come to here. 90. So then this is him going to shoot. So it's going to come afterwards, obviously. So we just want to see this just come out a little bit there. Bang. Bang. And I think I might cut on the bang. Let's just see what the next one is. So I've got 100. And 100 is that one. So we could cut, actually I could double cut the shot actually. So bang, bang, let's do that. So we get a little glimpse of him again. Okay, so there he goes off into the thing. Now we should lose him there, but that might need a 2D tweak because I can't fully control what's happening with the gas in Unreal Engine, obviously. We want to lose him in the gas. So let's drag in 120. What's 120? All right, so that's his POV again. Now I can't cut from his POV to his POV, so there must be a shot in between, and that might be what 110 has to be, and I might need to actually create it. So 110, 120. Yeah, I think I need to go. I need another one of these. It's 110. Let me just see. Can I split this? Let's make a duplicate of this and call it 110, and then I can tweak it. So I'm going to duplicate it. Call it 110. So when you want to, so when you've got this, if you're looking at shot with shots, you've got this button activated. That's gonna, when you come through into one of your shots, it's gonna be the equivalent of having the camera cuts button activated, which means you can't interact with the camera. So when you come through, you knock that one off and put this one on. This will give you one viewport that's got the camera activated, and then you can come and make changes. So I think he needs to be a little bit more forward, a little bit further down. That feels a bit better. So now, put this back on. Bang. Still feels like he backed off a touch, but I'll get away with it. It's fine. Bang. Still looking. Pulls the gun down to adjust his mask. And when the gun goes back up, then we do 140, I want to say. Like 140. Okay. There's a little bump there. Let's just fix that. Sometimes you'll get a little gap between the frames. See here? I just flame through 969, 970. There's a gap, and then 972, and it's because I haven't quite buttered these up correctly. So you just want to make sure that we go to there, like that. Okay. So now let's see how that plays out now. Okay. And then we'll cut on this. I'm going to cut on that whip pan there. That'll be nice and chaotic. And then we're going to go to 150, which might be my favorite, I think. That's fun. All right, and then 160. So I think just for continuity, I need to get him into a position where he actually he needs to come up here and get into this position, I think. Here's a problem, a very similar problem to what I was just talking about before, right? So he now leaves this screen right to left, but when we catch him here, he's running very slightly left to right. So ideally, we want to catch him running around that corner, really. So that's a note for later on. So he needs to be running. I can get it. I can get that. He needs to be running right to left. So he needs to be here, running this way, and end up, because at the minute he starts the shot running left to right, and then he goes right to left. We just need him to be moving right to left the whole shot. Okay, so is it in hides? Okay, I think when we do this, I think we'll probably cut to the next one, which is 180. Technically, this is the wrong screen direction now, but I don't think it's going to bother anyone. And then see here as well. Here's another issue. He stops moving. He slows down. So you see how he sort of stops here. He's actually stopped. I want to cut while he's moving. So let's cut there, and then the move joins up. So I might even cut in a bit later so that he's doing that there. Now again, technically, that is a line cross. He's actually jumped, but I'm going to see if it bothers me when I watch it back, because I might get away with it. Because I think the motion should carry it over. Yeah, I think we get away with that, you see. Let's see what's in 190. 190, go. That's his POV, so that's fine. We can cut in as much of that as we want. So he looks out. I don't want him to look back that way, so we have to cut out before he does that. Oops. So then we get a little bit of the POV. Don't need much of it. All right, so that's 190. So let's go to 200. Oh, we've got a 195. Okay. What's 195? It's this one. Yeah, which is pretty cool. I really like this one. Okay, I'm gonna add, I'm gonna go up to 2000 frames here just to make sure I've got enough. So, right, that's cool. I kind of like where that's cutting actually. So 195, then go 200. Okay, this is gonna be a very quick one. We need to be quick, because otherwise we're gonna interrupt. So just here, come in just there, boom. There it is. Duck, bang, and then bang, and then leave a little with someone. We will double cut. I want 2 hits of that, 2 bites of the apple. Come in here, cut in here like this. And then we go to what I think is the last shot now, 210. Come in here. Let him run away again. I'm just going to remove that as well. All right, and then there we go. So 1600. I went far off, 1600 frames. Let's call it that. All right, so let's watch it back. So starting on Sky. I love starting on Sky and tilting down. It's one of my favorite things. I'll be craning down. So here he is. He goes there. He falls down. You probably feel a bit more. That's a bad cut. That's a bad cut. Okay, that's shit. Here he comes. Runs away. Okay. Okay, that's working. That's weird. Let's fix that. Okay, that's good. That needs the transition and animation. This needs the line direction change. That's working really well. I like that a lot. That's not so good, but this bit's wicked, so I'll let it off. Okay, that wood effect has been weird. And then that works. All right, so cool. Right, so the next step now is to make a round of notes. So my process is I will do a first pass of the edit in Unreal Engine. I'll do myself a round of notes just to bring up the first pass into something that's a little more passable. Once I'm happy with that, then I'll bring everything out and put it into Premiere and rebuild the edit in Premiere, and that's where the edit will then live. Now, this is important because if you're on a job, if you're on a professional job, you will be working with an editor. They won't be working in Unreal Engine, right? So I put my assembly edit together in Unreal, and then I start to move it out into an offline editor such as Premiere or DaVinci. And from then on, you'll be versioning up each time and use the render as a point of versioning, right? So every time you supply a render to the editor, that's the next time you edit that shot, you version up. Until now, I use versions almost as takes. You know, I thought I might try something different, but I'm not necessarily versioning up all the time because I'm just working on my first pass. But after you start showing it to people and showing people, and especially if it's clients, you need to have a version number, and you need to make sure that once you've had a note on that version, you version up, right? So let's just go through. My note here is for offline. I'm going to call it offline. Sky in focus at the start. I might also add moon. Yeah, fuck it. I'm going to add a moon as well. Yeah. And what's that? Add a moon. I'm not too worried about that note just yet, but that's what's going to happen. And I think we should definitely have a moon. A moon's always nice, right? So we come down here and we find our guy, and I think that this bit's not working for me. So this is one of my problems. So he comes in here and then he darts off, and then there's this massive kind of jump and change in speed too. So he goes off at a certain speed and he comes absolutely walloping here and falls over, and we don't see him fall. So that's the problem here. It's poorly thought out. I've actually got a different idea I'm going to try. So I'm not too worried about this. I think what I'm going to do is I might have a completely different starting shot, and I might start on his feet running, and then I might have him actually trip on some barbed wire, and then I can get him tripped in this long bit here. And then, because it doesn't make sense, it feels like he's turned a corner here, because he has. I mean, look, because you can see him turn a corner, right? So I think that's what's not working about it. So I nearly think that my note on this one, this is 20, I nearly think this is an omit. I think I think this is a different shot. I'm going to go try a different shot. I'm going to go Alt, open on feet, running. Then cut to pulling with him for this shot. Pulling with him for this shot. So what I'm thinking is, we've got a shot of his feet running, then we come to him and we're pulling with him down the trench. So he's not running into shot, he keeps running. And either in that shot or in a different shot, but probably in that shot, he'll fall down and then we see him hit the floor. So this one will be so redo, falls into low angle, turns around, and then I'll add a 25. So go insert rows, one row above. So go 25. I'll remove the green because I've not done it, obviously. This would be, so that's not got a version yet. So new shot, POV of barbed wire around foot. Okay, and I might even do a second new one. So 15, and this is going to be new shot, reverse of Conrad turning around. And then while we're doing these, let's go new row, and I'm going to call this 05. Get rid of this. This will be our open on feet running, and then we do this change for that shot. This one's a redo, 2 new shots, and then 30. This will be him going from looking at his foot to looking up. So it's an eyeline issue, this one. So this will be eyeline change, foot to, from foot to what's happening in the trench. Right, Conrad POV, then this one will stay the same, more or less, but I might just refine it a bit. 50 is going to be change to barbed wire pose. This one will change to that. I like this. This is going to have to change to he frees himself and runs away. So this is 70. Then we get to this, and I think this stuff's working better from here in. So does that. I think he needs to raise his gun at the end of this. So he needs to raise his gun, which is getting into. So it's basically this action. He needs to not raise his gun here. His gun needs to be raised already. So he should raise his gun at the end of this shot. So 75, raise gun at end of shot. That's cool. This is great. Bang. That's cool. So this one should be gun already raised on 90. Gun already raised. 90. Gun already raised. That bit's working really well. Then this one needs 160. He needs to move. It needs to turn into this position. Continuity. Move into this position. Then he runs away, and then in this shot we need him to be running right to left at the start. So 170. Run right to left at the start. Okay, and then I think this is all working nice after that. Cool. Right, there we go. So that's my round of notes. I'm not going to bother doing any more time lapse, so I'm just going to go and fix these, and I'll come back and then we'll go through what changes were made, and then we will get this stuff out, get it into Premiere, start getting some sound effects and some stuff added, and start to make it into a fully fledged sequence. So, catch you in a bit.